Okay, y'all, you asked for it and I'm going to do it. So we are going to have a battle of the buns. We are going to test out the carnivore bun recipe using the heavy cream powder. But first, I am going to do another batch of the original recipe using the milk powder. So here is the original recipe. I am just going to do it the way the recipe was written. I'm not tweaking anything. Caveat, it does have baking powder in it. I am just going to do it exactly as written. And when we do the heavy cream powder, I'm just going to substitute equal amounts of the milk powder for the heavy cream powder. So if it flops, but we're going to see. So we are going to start out with 1.5 cups of milk powder. And you can use the whole milk powder, which would probably be a lot better. I just have the non-fat milk powder, which is going to be higher in carbs. And it is high in carbs. So this is not something that you are going to have all the time. You know, carnivore milk is carnivore, okay? It comes from a cow. It's carnivore. But I don't sit here and drink milk. Don't come for me. I don't make the carnivore rules. If you ask 10 carnivore people what is on carnivore, you're going to get different answers. Some people think honey is on carnivore. Some people do not. So, because of the fact that milk comes from a cow, people say it's carnivore, therefore milk powder is carnivore. So these are called carnivore buns. I didn't make it up. Anyway, we are going to do 1.5 cups of milk powder. I have 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I am going to mix those together. I did already screw it up. I did already screw it up. Dang it. Dang it. I was supposed to do the eggs first. Well, let's do it like this. We can just retape it if it screws up. But eggs are so darn expensive, I hope it turns out. Have you guys seen the price of eggs? Crazy, crazy, crazy. I got lucky and got 18 eggs for $5 something the other day. But my sister's up in like the mid-California area, and she said she's seen 5 dozen eggs, so it's still a lot of eggs, but $32. Okay, we got our eggs in there, and I accidentally already mixed the baking powder up with my dry milk, so I'm just going to mix it in. Hopefully it still works. I can't see why it wouldn't. Okay, we are going to start our air fryer, but we're going to use it on bake mode at 350. We're going to preheat that. And I'm going to mix this all together. And we are going to do the original buns, and then we're going to do the buns with heavy cream powder and see the difference. I am curious, what are eggs going for in your area? Tell me down below. Tell me the price of eggs in your area. All right, so the original recipe calls for 1.5 cups of milk powder, 2 large eggs or 4 small eggs, and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So I got that all mixed together. We're going to wet our hands and roll out the dough into 6 balls. Bake it at 350 for 11 to 13 minutes. If it gets sticky, just re-wet your hands. And the original recipe makes about 6 buns. So you can always make them bigger or smaller. So the first time I made these, I accidentally baked them for 13 minutes. They were a little too done to me. They still were really good, but the bottoms got a little browned. So this time I'm only going to do 11 minutes. And we'll see how that goes. But they were still really delicious. And then I made them into biscuits and gravy, which was delicious. I'll link the recipe down below or up above. Y'all can check that out. If you like biscuits and gravy, I'm sure you'll like that as a treat. Okay, we got our biscuits here. Let me wash my hands and then we'll stick it in the air fryer, which I have on bake mode. You can do it in your oven, same 350, 11 to 13 minutes. All right, we got an 11-minute timer going. I am going to clean up. We'll get prepped for the heavy cream powder ones. And then when we get back, we'll take these out, let them cool while we prep the other ones. And then we'll bake those and see how they go. Stick around. Okay, you guys, these just came out of the oven and I baked them for 10 minutes. These look beautiful. So these are the original recipe. I am going to set these aside and now we are going to try the recipe with the heavy cream powder. So for the new recipe, same ingredients except we're replacing the milk powder with heavy cream powder. So I have 2 eggs in here, 1.5 cups of heavy cream powder, and I have my baking powder. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So my thoughts on this is it may fall because the heavy cream powder has a lot more fat and is denser than the milk powder, but we will see. The milk powder that I used was the non-fat variety. That's just what I had. But there have been people that have used the full-fat milk powder and have had success. My first thoughts is the heavy cream powder is a lot finer. It's not as grainy as the milk powder. This is the cream powder that I purchased on Amazon. I will link it in the description below if by some miracle this turns out wonderful and y'all want to buy it. I will put it in the description below. Now I am not going to add any kind of yeast or any kind of gelatin. You know, if this flops, it may work if we add a little bit of yeast or if we add a little bit of gelatin to firm it up. But we are just going to do 1 for 1 right now just to see how it works out. Okay, so this dough seems to be more sticky and not as stiff. Now, if it doesn't work out into buns, we may be able to use a little loaf pan and get it to bake up like that. So we'll see. We will see, my friends. Oh, already I can tell that this is not as stiff of dough. All right. So, very, very soft texture on these. I'm going to bake it at the same temperature. Same time. And we'll be back to see the difference. It is almost time. And I'm telling you, they look vastly different. look at those. So we do have buns, but they look so different. These are more flat. They look like cloud bread, but I'm curious how they're gonna taste. But look at the difference. This is so strange, the difference to me. The texture is so different. These are very, very stiff, and these are very soft. Very, very soft, almost eggy. So that is what the heavy cream powder one looks like. And this is what the milk one looks like. We are going to do a taste test. Let's get these off of here. The bottom of these reminds me of when I did the cottage cheese flatbread. I don't think it would be bad to make these. If they taste good, you could definitely use these as buns for a hot dog. A little bit more easier. Or not a hot dog. Buns for a hamburger. Very interesting. Doesn't taste bad. But if I was going to make it this way, I wouldn't put any baking powder in it. I don't see the point. All right, let's taste these. My butter was a little hard, so I stuck it in the microwave and then it got a little soft. So we got some really melty butter and some little bit not so melty butter. So let's taste the new buns first. Should just dip it in there. It's good. I like it. I don't know. It does kind of remind me of bread. It doesn't taste eggy. Now, let me taste part of this one. So I can compare. This one just looks prettier. Look at that beauty. I say if you're going to have a treat, you're not going to make these all the time. You want something to go with Thanksgiving dinner, that might be your way to go. I don't know which ones I like better. These definitely are prettier. These definitely could be used for teeny sandwiches. But I kind of like the way these taste. Maybe I should get my husband out here to do a taste test. And I should blindfold him so he can't judge it by looks. Because you look at these and you automatically think these are going to taste better. Because they just look so much prettier. I have to say that these are not as dry as the last ones I made because I didn't bake them, over bake them like the last ones. Let's get my hubby out here and I'm going to make him close his eyes. Terry! I'm going to hide them under a napkin. Where's my napkins? I don't want him getting any preconceived notions about which ones are going to be better. I'm telling you, I kind of like the way these taste. And if we're just making them for us, who cares what they look like?
Heard it high.
Yes. So here's the deal. I don't want you to look at it.
Are you recording?
Yes, I'm recording. So you gotta close your eyes. Just feel your way over here. Close your eyes. You can't look because you can't have any preconceived notions about what they're gonna taste like. Oh, how do I get the camera? Don't cheat. I'm gonna put butter on it and then I'm gonna make you taste it. Okay, so still don't look. I'll bite. Wait a minute, let me make sure I can see you. Yeah, I can see you. Open. Right? Okay. And then when you're done with that one, I got one more bite. Are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Here's the next one. Just by taste, which one has a better flavor? One or two?
Well, the second one had more butter.
Oh, sorry. You want me to give you another bite without as much butter?
Well, the second one was softer, and the first one had a little bit more firmness, like cornbread.
So you want to taste it without
But
butter?
they both evenly taste good.
Which one would you hear? Now, without butter, you tell me. Taste number one. I know which one I like better.
Probably number two.
I like number two too. It just is not as pretty. So that's the original, which looks better. And these are the ones with the heavy cream powder, which are flat as a pancake, but they taste better, I think. But you still put two pieces together.
This one, if you
got the butter and stuff on it, mayo or whatever, it still tastes good.
Yeah, it does.
It still tastes good, but it's just, I like that one. And that does taste like cornbread still. Anyway, these aren't very pretty, but they taste good.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, just flat as a pancake, but they taste delicious.
She just can't stop eating.
Nope. Anyway, there we have it. Results are in. The heavy cream powder wins the taste test, but they're uglier. So we tried it out so you didn't have to. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next time. And until then, stop eating processed foods.